Don't buy Baldur's Gate 3. This game is not for everyone, and today I'll explain why. And then you can decide, is it worth your money and time. I also suggest you to watch our last video, 6 reasons why you should buy this game. It'll help you to understand whether you should play it or not. So, Baldur's Gate 3 is an RPG made by Larian Studios, the dudes responsible for Divinity 1 and 2. And it's okay if you don't know these games, just believe me that they are the best RPGs of the last years. And to begin with, my main complaint about the game. It's great, detailed and so on, but it's isometrics. I hate isometrics. Look, isometrics is when the camera looks at you from the position of the bird. And I hate this type of camera, because it doesn't let me immerse in the character. Even since I was a kid, I hated these kind of games. I can understand this type of camera in strategy games. You have to control a whole army, but RPGs like this? No. You may say, but all RPGs used to be like that. Yes, but that's because the computers were weak, and the view from above helped not to load all landscapes in front, but only a small sections of the map. But even 10 years ago, there was games that had different camera settings. Neverwinter Nights 2, Dragon Age Origins, and you could adjust the camera from behind the character's shoulder and from above. I understand that the game is so designed, and you need to see all the time what is not only on the same level as you, but also from above and below. But give me the opportunity to bring the camera closer. Let me suffer, but I won't play the way I want. And in general, Baldur's Gate has such an opportunity, but only partially. You can zoom in on the camera and look at the game from behind the character's shoulder. But I can't say that this is the right things to do, although it's better than in other RPGs. At least here I can look forward, but if the rod goes up, move the camera away. Also, the fact that you need to click the mouse in some place to go somewhere doesn't help me to immerse in the role of my character. So I'm likely to play this game on PS5 with the gamepad, playing with which you control your character directly. What we have in the end? Gamepad plus ability to view from over the shoulder. You could say that Larian have fixed my main complaint with these kind of games. Plus, they made all dialogues in form of cutscenes, which greatly reduced this problem. Because you don't look at the people from above, reading the text on the screen, but you see them, their faces, emotions, facial expressions, and you believe in them much more. And basically, that was my main complaint in the game. There are 2 other smaller ones, but about them later. What is the main feature of the game? Look, I think many of you are familiar with Dungeons & Dragons. It's a board game where you have a master who comes up with an adventure. You and the players come up with the characters, and you say your actions, after which the master tells you the consequences. For example, the master says, "You're in tunnel and there's a dragon in front of you. What do you do?" And the warrior says, "I'll hit it." The mage says, "Cast a fireball!" And you says, "I'll try to seduce it to create a race of half-dragons." And the master can say that it's impossible, but has to figure out and answer how the dragon will react and what the consequences will be. Regardless the fact that it's a terribly dumb idea. Because it's a dragon, it can be hit with a fireball. It's fire itself. The mage is dummy, of course. And in Baldur's Gate, creators tried to transfer this experience to the computer game, giving the player maximum freedom of action, making it so that you can pass the quest in a million different ways, which will depend on how you're leveled up. What are your skills? Who's with you in the group? For example, you have to get an item from the store. Here are the options. Buy it, negotiate for half the price with the seller and buy it as well, do a quest for him or someone from his family and get the item as a gift, break down the door at night and steal it, distract the seller with one character so the second could steal the item, and there's a lot more. And therein lies my second complaint with the game. You can't come and play it in the evening with your brains turned off, like when you play in Call of Duty. In this game you have to read, analyze and think a lot. For example, what you have to do to create a character. take a vacation at work, send the kids to grandma, wife or husband to a lover, buy snacks, close yourself in the apartment for a week and try to create the character during this time. Because you will have to read a lot. Each race, each class has its own descriptions of the lore, as well as the mechanics of how it works. So you will have to create a character in this game for a long time, choosing every aspect, every characteristics, which in the future will affect your entire playthrough. Well, or you greatly understand the D&D system and calmly create your character in a minute. But in this case it's not clear where you got a job, a wife and child from. But let's imagine that you have worked hard, spent a lot of effort and energy, read everything, learned everything, and start adding points, for example, in dexterity. But then you realize that you add a point, but the bonus does not increase. So what is the problem? You start googling and it turns out that the game has more hidden mechanics, and to understand everything you just need to buy 4 or 5 rule books and read them, and then you'll understand everything. However, the developers have taken the simplest set of rules and made the game as easy as possible for beginners, so that you don't need to shoot immediately to your head after starting the game. Let's save it for mobile players. You see what I mean? In games like this, damage is usually written in 2d4 format. What is 2d4? What does it mean? Not everyone can understand it, because not everyone plans to be a virgin until 30 like me. So the creators in the damage of weapons wrote humanly what damage, from 2 to 8, and below added this same 2d for nerds. Plus, you do not need to calculate the chance of hitting. The system itself counts it all and then gives you a chance of hitting when you're just on the target. But that doesn't mean that the game has been simplified at all. Because, for example, when the battle starts, you see a convenient position for your mage. You start running there during your turn. And for some shit, while you're running, you get hit by another character? And you don't understand why. It's your turn. And it turns out that the enemy has the ability to hit you when you pass by, but not every enemy, only some of them. And if you want to find out who exactly can, you must explore the enemies and look for all their weaknesses. So if you really want to enjoy this game, please Google how to create a character, how the equipment, magic and combat system works in this game, because the game itself says almost nothing about it. By the way, if you want, write in the comments that you don't understand how Baldur's Gate works, and I will make a video in which I'll explain the basics of this game. My third complaint is the tactical combat. I don't like tactics, I'm bored playing it, that's why I don't like chess since childhood. And in Baldur's Gate it's exactly tactical battles. But with all that I said, I really like the combat in this game. The fights here aren't as frequent, but they are challenging. If you're walking through a location and see some enemies, don't go all out on them. Enter stealth mode, put all lone rangers on the high grounds, because if they're above the enemy, they get a bonus to damage. Next, lead your assassin behind the enemies, and then go out with your tank to the enemies and do the... And when everyone beat the tank, shoot from above by mages and archers, attack with your assassins like a rat from behind, and heal your tank all the time. Although the combat system is turn-based, but I liked it because of its flexibility. The enemy is far away, attack with a long range weapon. Close, change to a sword and attack close. Near the cliff, push him into the cliff. Your assassin is next to you in front of the crowd of enemies. Pick him up and throw him over them. There is a pit in front of you, jump over it. The combat system is really very deep, and in couple with the animations and variety of enemies and arenas does not let you get bored. And I'll tell you honestly, it's one of the few tactics that managed me to draw in. The last one that managed to do that was the Banner Saga. Well, and it's impossible not to mention your main enemy in Baldur's Gate 3. The one who will constantly spoil your fights, dialogues, lockpicking locks and much more. I'm talking about him, because he will be responsible for all your actions. Look, here you have damage, for example from 10 to 20, and it's the virtual dice that decides what exact number of damage you would do. You want to pick a luck? You see that to successfully pick it you need to roll more than 10 of the dice. You want to persuade a character to do something? You roll the dice again. What can help you? Look, you need to pick a luck. To do it successfully, you need to roll a 10. If you have high dexterity, you have a bonus +2. If dexterity is higher or you have special tools, then the bonus is greater. And in general, you can raise the bonus to the maximum. But there's one thing. In other games, if you maximally leveled, for example lockpicking, you always successfully pick lucks. If you do not level at lockpicking, you can never pick lucks. But in Baldur's Gate everything is different. Your dice has two of the strongest numbers on it, 1 and 20. The point is, if you get 1, you always lose. Always, no matter how you're leveled. And if you get 20, you always win. Always, even if the skill is at 0. So you could be the best burglar with the best gear, with the best lockpicks, trying to pick the easiest lock. But you get 1 and you fail. And in this scheme are added various modifiers. Sometimes you roll 2 dice, sometimes 1. Sometimes you get a bonus, and sometimes a penalty. But the most important thing that this system brings to the game, the lack of systematic. You can always go something not according to the plan, as in life, and you will have to get out of this situation. Isometrics, tactics, difficulty of entry. Just because of these 3 parameters, I do not advise you to buy this game. It is not for everyone. But at the same time, all the elements of this game are so magically connected that I personally liked this game. Really liked. And so much that after trying the demo version I downloaded Divinity. And it seems that I understood what the trick of such games. So you can try this game, but you have to realize that you maybe cannot play this game 1 hour after work. You will have get into it, study it and play it carefully. But if you can do it, I'm sure you will have the hell of gaming experience. And now we will check whether this video will have 1 million views.